Kieran Gillen and Kay Zema explore what Ajak has been up to lately, sending the Eternal on a pilgrimage to determine what the Eternals will do now that their gods have abandoned them. Kieran Gillen decides it's time to follow up on the Avengers arc Jason Aaron kicked off his Avengers book with, catching Ajak up on what has happened to her god and how the Avengers now live in the corpse of one of them. I thoroughly enjoyed that Gillen dived deep into the philosophical, religious stuff that comes with the Eternals, specifically Ajak and Makkari, both who are quote-unquote prophets of the Celestials and ones that speak for them, and they both have had crises of faiths and have dealt with it in very different ways, almost polar opposite ways, with Makkari wanting to move on and create their god again a la Frankenstein, while Ajak stays resolute, thinking that this is all just some grand test from their gods and they will return for them once they have passed those tests. This of course puts her at odds with the Avengers, both the 1 billion BC team that Jason Aaron made, who end up being her first exposure to the Avengers and don't set a very good tone with the woman, and because of that she sees the Avengers as sort of an annoyance or a threat, and even more so that the modern team are actually living in the body of one of her supposed gods, so she believes it to be some sort of great cosmic sin. So Gillen continues to plant these seeds of a possible Avengers Eternal war brewing in the background of this book, and I imagine in the Avengers book with Jason Aaron or whoever will be writing it after him, something I'm very much looking forward to, and something that will hopefully bring the Eternals into a bit more prominence, and probably something that should have happened before their movie came out. Kay Zema covers the book in just some incredibly intricate artwork that wonderfully captures the scale of an Eternal's long life, as well as the brutality that can come with a being who doesn't really have to worry about death. Kai's depiction of Celestia, this huge throne that the Celestial would sit on, was so damn cool and so intricately designed with Aztec and Mesopotamian design references. It just looked fantastic, easily capturing the grand scale of this world that the Eternals live in. Eternals Celestia issue 1 was a great one-shot dive into Ajak and Makkari's pilgrimage to a better understand their gods' motivations and machinations, putting one on a path to create something new and the other on a path towards all-out war with the Avengers, something I'm very much looking forward to. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10. Eternals Celestia issue 1 finds Ajak hoping that she has not woken up yet, and perhaps she is trapped in some kind of mind cage for torture. Machine knows that she is a Thelosian, which being an Eternal who is on a first name basis with gods means it's a less academic calling. The Machine knows that she is sad to learn with the Celestials gone, the Eternals have no further use, and while Icarus is an arrow, Droog is a snake, and Circe is quite complicated, Ajak is a believer, and she is now a believer without a god. Makkari soon comes by to see her, but Ajak tells the heretic to leave. Makkari signs that Ajak is no closer to understanding what perspective she seeks, so she just needs to move on and choose a path and walk it. Ajak thinks that's an idea, knowing that the first celestial corpse came to Earth and was left with the Avengers, wanting to make a pilgrimage to it. In an instant, Makkari goes to check on it and comes back, knowing nothing has changed with it, but Ajak explains the point of a pilgrimage is its journey, and it's a journey of effort and living proof of one's devotion. She says that Makkari has been traveling fast for as long as she has existed, wondering where that has exactly gotten her. A million years in the past, Ajak tells the Celestial Master that they are ready and will act. She confronts the Avengers 1 million BCE team, as in the present, Makkari asks how the pilgrimage works, learning all they need to do is just walk, traveling slowly across the world, through the mountains and snow, as Machine knows that Makkari became a prophet when a Celestial spoke to her, with a dreaming Celestial telling of a new covenant between Eternals, Deviants, Celestials, and man, and when the Celestial return, they would all be freed. Makkari spread this good news, but then some X-Men villains carved up the dreaming Celestial for their own machinations, and her prophecy never happened, causing her to be branded a heretic. Ajak thinks this is all a test, but Makkari doesn't believe so, coming to a different understanding thanks to the pain. Ajak agrees on that, as in the past, the Avengers 1 billion viciously beat Ajak down, not even letting her finish her opening speech. Machine knows that with how Eternal's memories work, modern Ajak doesn't remember this pain, but she has read a book about it, and the pain isn't something she would recommend to anyone. She unleashes a series of blasts that give her information on all of the Avengers, making her find them pretty petrifying as the Phoenix smashes her in the face. She realizes that the other members are of a different power scale, with true magic imbuing each of them, magic being one of the Eternals' weakest spots. The most interesting of them is the Sorcerer Supreme though, as she names the rest of the heroes, while Ghost Rider rips into her body with a bone hook, but Ajak doesn't care she's about to die, since she has gathered enough information for herself. Makkari continues to talk about how she mourned the dreaming Celestial, but then understood they owe nothing to the gods who abandoned them. She talks about how she read the book Frankenstein 40 times over in 40 seconds, liking how the man made life from the parts of the dead, thinking that is what they will do with the Celestials, and thinks they need to make their god and write a new covenant. Ajak thinks she makes some good points, wanting to think it over. In the past, Ajak is reborn after the Avengers kill her, knowing that they deeply are inefficient and are together for a loose cause. She knows that they are a secondary system of protection for the machine, but right now, the Eternals should stand down against the Avengers. In the present, Ajak sees what has become of Avengers Mountain, angered at what has become of her god, knowing that it's blasphemy. In a rage, she goes to attack, but Ghost Rider calls for her to stop, asking what the problem is, wanting to explain everything. Robbie says that they are allowed there since the Celestials told him it was okay, but Ajak knows he lies, using her telepathy to probe his mind, where she learns he actually is telling the truth and the Celestials left the progenitor there for them as a gift, and they wish not to be buried anymore, instead wanting to be a shining beacon on top of the world, and a warning about what will happen if anyone tries to stomp out the wonders of life on Earth. Ajak says she has often pored over the meaning of the Celestials' words, but they ignored her, yet spoke to Robbie. Confused, she teleports away with Makkari, who uses part of her mind to try and convince Ajak of her folly, while the other part of Makkari's mind battles the confused and enraged Ajak, who wants to just kill all of the Avengers for what they have done by talking to the Celestials. Makkari says that she has seen her god desecrated, and now Ajak has as well, so she needs to listen to her when she says that they are priests and it's their job to bear all of this pain. Ajak still won't join Makkari's mission to rebuild their gods, knowing that this is a test since they have failed their gods and they must live up to them again. Makkari thinks that the pilgrimage taught her nothing, but Ajak knows that now the gods are angry with her because the Avengers are living in the corpse of a divine being. Knowing the gods giving them permission proves that this is a test, and their words conceal a true meaning, and now she knows that she has made a mistake all those years ago, and she should have killed the Avengers back when she had the chance. Machine chronicles how Ajak begins planning a war as an act of prayer, with Makkari also planning to piece together old gods into something new, with the machine knowing this definitely won't end well.